May 2011, paper 1, problem 12. We've got a trig problem. We're graphing a trig function, and we've got a period for one full cycle of our graph for 24 hours, and they've given us, kind of the general formula for a cosine graph, and we need to find different parts of our function. So the first thing it asks us to do is find the value of a. Now remember, on these IB exams, sometimes they change the placement of the different these different constants. Here, t is our angle, and what we're looking for now is a, and we know that a is the amplitude, and the amplitude is the distance that's halfway between the bottom of the graph and the top of the graph. So I can see that the maximum value of my graph is at -1, and the minimum value of my graph is at -5, and so halfway between that will be -3. But what I'm looking for is this distance. How far is it? It's a positive value. How far is it between the maximum of the graph and the middle of the graph? That's the amplitude. So that value is the distance between -1 and -3 is 2. It's a positive value. Then it says to find the value of b. Now b is the frequency of the graph, and it's related to the period. So if you remember that the period is the distance it takes to go one full cycle, we know that our period here is 24 hours. And we know that the b value is equal to 360 over the period. And so in this case, 360 over 24 is equal to 15. And then it says, so see this little find, this little word find right there? They want to see you doing that calculation. For c, we're finding the value of c. That's the vertical shift. So in our equation, the thing that's added on at the end, or sometimes it's added on at the beginning, so don't let that trick you. Sometimes they'll do a plus b cosine. It's all positional. What's added on to the function is the vertical shift. How far up or down have we moved the graph? And we've moved this graph, the old middle. If you think about not an unshifted graph, that middle value would be at 0 at the x-axis. Well, our graph's been shifted down 3 units. And then the last part of the graph says write down the interval of time. Now, when we're talking about intervals, we're going to be talking about the x value. So there's intervals of time during which the temperature is increasing from -4 to -2. So where is the temperature increasing from -4 to -2? So here are the y values, -4, oops, I should mark that one, to -2. That's not quite, I didn't do that right the first time. And what are these x values? So those x values, the temperature is increasing when the time values are greater than or equal to 16, but less than or equal to 20. Now you could also write from 16 to 20 using interval notation. That would be totally fine. So that's where we're increasing.